Hi everyone and welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends Tri-Sentinel Wave House of X Marvel Girl. This is a Jean Grey that can work both as your House of X Marvel Girl and also your younger, classic style Jean Grey. As you can see, she comes with a leg for the Build-A-Figure and also a Krakoan flower plant, which on all of these boxes we have the Krakoan text right here for the names of the characters, which is really cool. And don't worry, they have actually put the names on the side of the boxes right there, so you don't need to worry about trying to read a mutant language right there. And then on the back here we also have everyone else in the wave. You don't need Wolverine to build the Build-A-Figure, but it was the last review I did, and I highly recommend that you check that video out if you're into your Wolverine figures. God, that's a good one. I love it so much. I stopped recording, and I took a picture of it, and I literally just sat there looking at it on the desk just thinking, God, that's a good figure. And there's only a select few figures that come along every now and then that I can, stop recording and then just sit here and just look at and really seriously appreciate before I go ahead and do anything else. I just had to stop and admire that thing. I love it so much. And if you want to see the rest of the wave, then go ahead and subscribe and stay tuned to the channel, because these are all coming out thick and fast. But anyway, for now, let's go ahead and get this thing opened up and take a closer look. And here's Marvel Girl out of the packaging, and this figure is definitely a mixed bag. On the one hand, it looks absolutely fantastic. I love the really bright green and the yellows that's used. The mask and the whole head sculpt looks really, really fantastic. They've painted the eyes beautifully, and you can even see the eyebrows in there as well, so that's a great attention to detail. Lips are done really, really well. And the hair, the sculpt is phenomenal. I really, really love the way that it flows nicely over her shoulders. You've got the gaps there for her ears. They really have gone above and beyond on the sculpt of this thing in terms of how it looks. The creases in the skirt, the paintwork on that belt, and even the texture on the belt, you can tell that it is meant to be a leather belt with the creases in and the folds. This isn't actually painted on up here, the skin tone right there, that is actually a separate molded piece. So this green torso and this, the upper body here, are actually two separate pieces, so you don't get a paint line or bleed or anything. That is actually different plastic, so that's the best way that it could be. But then you get down to the feet, and it's the complete opposite of that in terms of how it looks. They didn't mold on the boots. They actually have a molded line here for the shoes, which should be open foot shoes, open top shoe, whatever. And yet they have just painted that in. So they could have used, there's other options that they could have used for these feet. They could have molded on the boot there on the calf. That's a little bit sloppy. We do have some interchangeable hands, though, which is great, and also a flower accessory, because everyone wants a flower. So this is the Krakoan flower. It's a great thing as part of the character and the book. I don't really think anyone really wants this. I think maybe having some, power accessories would have been a better thing, but here we have it, and it looks good for what it is and accurate for what it is. We do have those interchangeable hands, which are a pair of fists, which do come on the figure in the package. And then here we have the interchangeable jazz hands. So we have the open jazz hand and the semi-open jazz hand. And they are great, and that's exactly what I would want for this figure. I think that gives you a ton of posability options, or at least it should. This figure stands just under 6 inches tall, and whilst it looks great unless you look at the boots, that's all you can do with this thing. The only things that move around really are the arms, and even then, it's really not great. So the head is on a ball joint, which can move left and right, but the hair is very thick, so you can only really get it in certain situations. As you can see, the head is already trying to move itself back to that straight position. You ain't going to get it looking up properly, and you ain't going to get it looking down properly either, because it's just going to want to pop straight back. The shoulders move out to the side and rotate all the way around, so that's exactly what you would want. Rotation and the single jointed elbow, however, it doesn't get anywhere near 90 degrees, which is absolutely terrible. If we go back 5 years in Marvel Legends, this would be a fantastic figure. as it stands right now, we have double jointed elbows on female characters, and this is such a main character, and it really, really needed it, and unfortunately, we didn't get it in time for this. Rotation and the hinge at the wrist as normal. Then we get to this torso. It looks fantastic, and part of the reason it looks fantastic is because the articulation sucks. I mean, it's more like a Marvel Select figure in that sense, but even Select figures nowadays have a ton of articulation compared to what they used to have. It's a floating torso, meaning it's a ball joint at the bottom and the top. You see it a lot in more, kind of import-style figures, only they have bigger cuts, and maybe this belt skirt piece would be in between those two. The bar here that connects these two body parts is just not big enough, so there's just not enough room to actually get any articulation. She pivots side to side well, but the forward and back crunch is practically non-existent. She goes back more than forward, and there's just nothing. You can rotate it left and right, which is about the best thing that you can do there. The skirt is very, very thick. You can barely move this thing, which means the legs, there's literally no point in having any articulation whatsoever. They move out this far and then forward and back this far. You can't even have a waddle. I mean, there's just nothing. They rotate at the upper part of the thigh, double jointed knees, but I really don't see why you would ever need them. You can get her into a kind of a bit of a better flying pose like this, but that's literally all that you can do with her. I mean, you can't even have her fly above and look down at people because you can't keep the head pointing down. You do have the ankle pivot and also the up and down there at the feet, but because you can't really move the legs all that much and how small these feet are, and she's got the heels, it's a very, very hard figure to stand. Plus, she's top heavy because of all this hair up here, because it's such a solid piece. It looks fantastic, but I mean, for that thumbnail shot, like when I was holding it, when I cut to the figure, I was holding her. I can't get this thing to stand on its own properly, not without spending proper time doing it. If you want a Marvel Girl, it does look fantastic at least, and although the features are definitely lacking compared to other figures, you know what? It'll make do in your collection, and it's a pretty sweet looking Build-A-Figure, and it comes with the part that you need for it. So if you're buying the Build-A-Figure, great. And if you need a Marvel Girl figure, great. But if you're just in general buying a toy for a kid, or you're a collector that really does, care about what you spend your money on, I think you should probably pass on this one, because in general, it looks great, but it is a bad figure underneath how good it looks. It does suck. But anyway, that's it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more from me, check out the videos on the screen right now, and links to my social media in the description below. And if you want to see more Marvel Legends videos, including the rest of this wave, please do go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.